Welcome to Broke Ass to Badass, where heart-led entrepreneurs learn to build the businesses and lives of their dreams with confidence, ease, and joy. This is the anti-hustle movement, and we're your coaches in badassery, Kimi and Pua.
Find out more at bledigital.com, and wherever you're listening to this, be sure to click subscribe so you never miss an episode.
Welcome to the podcast. I just don't know how to introduce what we're talking about today. Okay, so here, let's just paint the scene for everybody. And that this is the first solo episode that we've done in a while. It's also the first episode that we're, you know what I'm saying? Like that we don't have a guest. We're not doing this live. We made the intentional decision to just record this by Skype like the old days.
We're going old school.
We're going,
like this is 2013 Kimi and Pua Hot Better Pop.
Yeah.
We don't know what the F we're doing.
Right. Like
Actually, no, it's not. Because in 2013, when we did our podcasts, we would have we'd spend the entire week planning the 45-minute episode, and we'd have 8 to 10 pages of notes on a shared Google Doc. And today, 5 minutes ago, we were like, what should we share about today?
I love that. That is.
It's kind of cool too. It's goes right into what we're talking about today, right? It's
yes.
how far have we come when we don't even realize it?
Right. And how important is it to reflect on these moments and to have somebody in your life that you can kind of have them mirror that back to you, or at least practices and rituals in place, systems in place, some way to track how you are growing so that you're not such a freaking a-hole to yourself.
Oh, God. Well, then I won't be an a-hole to myself right now as you talk about practices and systems and reminders in place to do things, because it's the first time I've ever podcasted. I don't have headphones on, and I don't even think my mic is working. So hold the phone.
That's just how I don't even know. I don't even know what to say.
That's just how I am every week.
Okay. Oh, man.
Mic on. Plugging headphones in now. Okay.
And
now we're
back.
podcasters.
Now we're podcasters. Okay. So yes. So we're talking about not being an a-hole to yourself and the different strategies that we can have in place to kind of help us to be a little bit kinder to ourselves in our journey. And in addition to that, and actually probably even more than that, we're just here to shoot the shit with you guys and with each other. We thought it would just be fun to just kind of talk and hang out. And while we definitely have some bomb ass value to share with you today, we also just wanted to check in and kind of say hey, what's up? Here's what we've been up to. What are you up to? Even though we understand that podcasting, you can't respond, but you can respond if you hop on over to the tribe or message us. But yeah, we just wanted to kind of hang out and check in with all y'all.
It's true. And we mean it when we say respond to us, go to the tribe. The first myth that we're going to bust today is that people that you listen to, that you maybe aspire to be like or look up to, are too busy to hear from you. And it's super not true. And we're not just saying it's not true because we want you to talk to us. We aren't a special case. I've heard lately, who was talking about being on Oprah's podcast?
Oh, I don't know.
Does this sound familiar?
Nuh-uh.
Someone was like, maybe I watched a video or I listened to something, and they were like, Oprah, does Oprah have a podcast? Did I just make all this up? No, she has one. Oprah? Yeah. I'm going to Google it right when I'm done talking. Okay. But she's the whole I didn't make this up, actually. I know. I remember. And she's looking for people, real people to have on her podcast. She's looking to have real conversations with humans.
Oh,
and
this does sound familiar, actually, right? Now that you're saying it. Yeah.
And that's the world we live in. Maybe before, when we had to, schedule in-person meetings or fly somewhere just to talk to somebody. Yeah, maybe you're too busy traveling or doing all these things. But this is a new age. The digital space, you can connect with anybody, anytime, anywhere.
Mm-hmm. So true. Yeah, I think back to all the quantum leaps that we've taken in our business, and they typically happen right after we just make this inspired, impulsive almost decision to reach out to somebody that we admire Like it's so cool. And, or that we've been thinking about, or that like they said something and we're just like, wow, we just have to let them know because we were so moved by it, whatever it may be. And I think that's it is such a cool world that we live in. And it's so much more empowering than like sitting around and waiting to hear from people or waiting to be discovered or waiting for an email or a message or a phone call. It's like we have the power to create our reality. And it just comes from remembering that we're all just humans that want to connect. And that are excited to connect. So yeah, reach out. That's the long way to say we can't wait to hear from you. All
right. See ya. Just kidding. So today we were inspired to share this message with you because we had to share it with ourselves. And like, so we're at an interesting sort of not crossroads, but just I think we're stepping onto a new space in our business, and we're learning a lot of new things, and we're growing and we're making room for that growth. And so I don't know how much of this we should share today, but I have diarrhea of the mouth, so it's coming. So just stop me.
Perfect. But I will never stop your diarrhea mouth. That sounds messy and like something I don't want to do.
Perfect. I will take advantage of that. But we're learning new launch strategies, and we're changing the way that we serve and the way that we deliver our programs to both serve more, to serve better, to make room for the growth that's coming, and to just level up in all aspects of our business and our lives. And so when we find ourselves in this time of I'm sure if you're listening to this, you can relate, because a time like this includes a little bit more work, right? Like you're changing information on your landing page, you're updating your platforms, you're just doing a bunch of things, you're building out a launch, you're writing emails, whatever that is. And so it can be easy to get lost in the work and it's inspiring work. It's fun. Like Kimi and I love what we do, but it's also a time where we naturally tend to reflect less and celebrate less and take less time to really look within and see like how far have we come? And are the challenges that we're going through now a beautiful product of the growth that we've experienced? And when you can shift it like that, the challenges feel really good rather than feeling like a consequence of something that you did wrong. Right?
Yes. Yeah. God, that's so true. It really hit home when you said that when we're in this place of expanding, that we take less time to reflect and celebrate. Like, God, is that true? And that's when we need it the most, right? Because here we are, we're striving for these big things. And what we've always said about motivation and inspiration is that we don't get it from thinking about where we want to go. We get it from thinking about how far we've come. So if in those moments of expansion, we can say like, look at what we've already done. Look how many miles we've run already. That's actually what keeps us going towards the next finish line, that next place that we want to get to. So, oh yes. Thank you for that reminder.
For sure. And there's value in both, right? Like I am equally motivated by remembering how far we've come. Like, funny story too, we were kind of looking at our numbers the other day, and we started out that conversation. We're like, I'm so confused. Why isn't this growing? And then we looked and we're like, holy shit, that's how much we grew in the last, 3 months. And we didn't even know. Like, I honestly had no clue. And it wasn't until we took the time to look at the numbers that we realized what a huge step we've taken. So that's really motivating, but like goals are motivating too. And I feel like we sort of for a while didn't like the idea of, or we didn't like the word goals, and it was very like hustle oriented and very kind of numbers focused and less intuitive and all of that. But I feel like I'm coming back around to, and it could be like fitness industry PTSD, but I'm like,
ain't that the truth?
Right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
But I feel like I'm kind of coming back around to the goals thing, because we've been spending some time crunching number. That's the other thing, like crunching numbers. Ew, that sounds so gross, but it's so exciting and it's so motivating when you can set a goal and then break the numbers down into exactly what you need to hit that goal, right? What's your goal? And then how many leads you need, how many enrollments you need, how many email subscribers you need based on these percentages of conversions that have been tested by people in this space over and over. That is like so fun. Yeah.
It is so fun. And it's also so important because our brain does weird things, right? When we aren't actually looking at the real numbers, we tend to either downplay them or overplay them in our mind, right? And both, there are negative effects to both. So we might feel like it's so, like a goal that we have is so out of reach because it's so big and it feels really overwhelming. But when we break it down, it's like, oh, actually, that's not that hard at all. And so, yeah, so there's just a lot of value, I think, in breaking things down and being willing to really look at the numbers. And I think what's so important, and this is where that gym PTSD comes from, is not attaching emotion to the numbers, right? And so that's where we start to feel really drained when we're setting these goals. And then it's like, oh, we set goals and then we get so attached to their meaning and what they mean and what that means about who we are and whether or not we hit them. It's like when we can separate our value, our worth, and our emotions and feelings and like overall just like wellness and happiness from those numbers and just use them as feedback instead to continue to serve and to be better and improve upon ourselves, again, without any of that, negative emotion or negative self-talk. That is where the power of tracking comes in. So if you're going to track, it's like track without attachment to outcome, without attachment to like trying to tie that to your worth. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. And it's so funny to hear us talk about this because like the two of us, yes, we're business coaches. Yes, we're digital media creators, but we have a fairly high degree of woo.
Yeah.
And like all of the things that we do. And it's, to me, like this journey has been such a mind fuck because you start out and you have all of these high hopes and dreams for your business and you don't really know what's happening. You don't really know what you're doing, but you know that you can help people and you have this vision and this dream. And then all of a sudden, like the money thing starts messing with your head. And then you do a lot of like money mindset work and you listen to podcasts about how to manifest abundance and all these things. And I remember we did a podcast episode was it about manifesting or something? And we were like, you can't just sit there and be like, oh, my money mindset's so great. I'm going to go plant a piece of paper out in the dirt and it says $1 million on it. And then it's going to like bring me money. So, but like, you can't not have the mindset either. Mm-hmm. And so this episode, I feel like, is a reminder that both are important. And like, this is a holistic process. Being a business owner includes mental, physical, emotional, spiritual. It includes having a positive mindset around whatever it is that you're doing, around money, around abundance, around all of the blocks that are keeping us stuck. And also being really clear on the quantifiable part of having a business and owning a business and being able to create the level of abundance financially, energetically, time, whatever, to sustain your life and live that lifestyle, not just that you can survive off of, but that you can thrive off of. It's totally both.
Amen. Yeah. I have to just say, like, I'm sitting here and I'm listening to you and I just have to take a moment and say how grateful I am for you. Like, I was going to say I'm going off script, but there is no script. So, but that's really what is in my heart. And I just want to say, like, I feel so grateful to have a partner that is so aligned in the holistic approach to something. And that it's not just because that is like our conversations that we have about our business. It's like, it's always both, right? It's like, we need this, we need the structure, we need the numbers, but we also need to have faith. We need to believe in ourselves. We need to have our inside as in shape as the outside. And so that has been just such a, I never want to take that for granted. And don't know. I always just start thinking a lot about gratitude. I'm always thinking about gratitude, obviously. Like gratitude is a huge part of our business and our life. We've had many different, not systems, but like rituals in place to practice gratitude. We've incorporated it into our weekly planning and our business culture. But I always think about gratitude also in November, as most people do, right? It's the month of Thanksgiving. And so anyway, I'm just sitting here and I am thinking and reflecting on how grateful I am for you and for this journey that we've had. And I think that's the power too of slowing down, and what we're inviting and encouraging all of you to do in your business, in your life, is just slow down and reflect on, yes, we get it. We know where you want to go. We know you have these big dreams. We know that, there are things in your life that you feel that you don't have yet and that you want. But remember to slow down and just enjoy where you are, because if you recall, and I love this saying so much, like the things that you have now, at one point you were praying for them. And when I think back to, 5-6 years ago, I was praying for clarity in terms of like knowing, I was praying to have a podcast. I was praying to have somebody that like I could work with and that it would would get me and that we'd be so aligned. I was praying to like know exactly what I was here to do on this planet. And it was so torturous. And then when we started to work together, God, like we had such branding pains in the beginning. We spent so many years trying to figure out like, who exactly are we meant to serve? What are we meant to do? There were so many skills and so much, so many things that we didn't know that we wanted to know how to do. And that is the power of slowing down and being grateful and like looking back and being like, shit, wow, my life right now is the life I was praying for. So thank you. I prayed for you and I got you.
Thank you. We should just end this right here because that was so good. And like I feel the same. Doesn't it always feel like you're getting gypped when someone's like, "Oh, same to you." Like
I love it. I
feel like I'm gypping you, but it's not. Like,
no, we don't even need to talk. I feel you.
Okay, good.
I feel you.
I feel you too.
You know what's weird about this episode? I just have to say that people are getting to experience. We don't actually talk to each other that much about it. Like most of our talking that we do is like planning. Do you notice that? Or like business planning. Like we've been spending a lot of time, and that's what happens when you're growing and expanding. Like we've been a lot in the like strategic mode whenever we talk. And like I can't even remember the last time I actually saw you, even though we live like 10 minutes away from each other. So this is really nice to just
really nice.
To just talk. I wish we were in real life having coffee.
Did you say talk?
Talk.
Aw, you did that really well. Yeah, for sure. It is so funny. And like, I always think about this when I was so I went to and you did too. We went to like basically college prep schools. So many of my peers and classmates had an idea of what they wanted to do, whether or not that's what they're doing now, whether or not it was their parents' dream versus their own. I felt like the minority in that I just had no clue. I had no idea. And I liked art. I liked dance. I was definitely like a creative, but it didn't necessarily fit a mold that was available to me at the time. And I always think then about like in college, I spent 2 years undeclared and then I declared a major just so I could graduate. And like, who does that, right? Like who wastes their 4 years of college education just getting to graduation? And I realized like a lot more people than I thought, but right. And then you like go into the workforce and you dabble in all these jobs. And I had a boss once, and she was like, I was an intern, and she was trying to get me to figure out what my next step was after my internship was over if I didn't continue with the company. And she's like, what do you want to do? Like, what are you here for? I was like, we were in her kitchen. And I was like, well, I don't know. I've thought about like applying for Hawaiian Airlines or, I think like travel. I want to travel and trying to find like a job for that. She goes, no, I want you to think more broad. Like what do you love to do? And I was like, oh, I don't know. I like to talk to people. And she's like, I remember she kind of got frustrated with me because I couldn't understand the question. And even if I did, I had no clarity, as Kimi said, on how to answer it. I was just like completely lost. And if you were to even ask me 5 years ago if I would be building websites and coaching people to have online businesses, I would say you're crazy. I don't know enough about that to share with people or to build a website for somebody or to do any of the things that we're doing now. And it was through this journey of pain and of struggle and of like learning new things and figuring things out and like really getting clear about what lights us up and having the platform through having an amazing business partner to allow that kind of self-discovery and growth and expansion. That is how we figured this out. And 5 years from now, we don't know if this is what we'll be doing, right? But we often aren't given the space, and it's not like you need it. That's the other thing. You don't need anybody to tell you, here, have a week to self-reflect. Do nothing but look within. Like no one's going to tell you that, but you don't need them to. But we don't know that, right? So it wasn't until we learned all of these tools to really figure out like what is it truly that we love to do? How do we truly love to serve? What is it that we could provide to the world that would solve people's problems, right? And so it is about the questions that we ask ourselves. It is about giving yourself quiet time. It is about giving yourself the space to look within and not worry about judgment, not worry about whatever's coming in externally, and just do you.
Yeah. Just do you. Oh my gosh. Yes. Oh, yes to all of that. I know I was like thinking about the past 5 years. This is like a reflective episode for us.
I know this is not anywhere where we thought it was going to be.
But it's awesome. So true. It's like the moment that you and I decided like, this is it. It's like, it is like plugging into the matrix. And I think about all the things that we have learned and that we get to teach people now. It's like, it is so amazing. And there is woo here. There is magic because there is like, it is miraculous that you and I found each other and have been able to leverage our superpowers in the way that we do. Like, I don't think that we do on some level take it for granted how easy it is to work with each other and how our skill sets like really just, our vision is so aligned. And I don't know, like our workflow, I wish people could, like, we could do like a documentary on like how we work together and what we get done. Cause I think it would freaking trip people out because sometimes we barely need to communicate anything about like who does what in the business. And it just all flows like so beautifully and naturally, right? Like the things that I love to do, you're like, ew, no thanks. I could do them, but I'm going to pass. And that's how I feel about the things that you do in our business. You're like, you can just bang things out so fast that I'm like, wow, like I could do that, but nah, I don't want to. It feels heavy for me. And it's like, how does that work? Like that is magic. And it is like purpose. Like we have come together for a mother effing reason. And I feel that every day. And I am so grateful for this opportunity to really sink into that today because, it's amazing. It is really, truly amazing.
Yeah, you're so right. And that's what we want for all of you listening. Mm-hmm. And so for us, what we often say, like we have an 8-week program, we have coaching clients, and many of them are solopreneurs. They have this vision, they're executing it by themselves. And I don't know if I would be here if I didn't meet Kimi. And I, honest to God, think that I wouldn't. Because I don't know, as she said, like this, we came together and what we have now was an evolution of both of our energies. And it was tough. So for us to work with solopreneurs, for one, like, oh my God, I look at them and I talk to them every day and I just think how incredible. They are absolutely amazing humans for getting as far as they've gotten. And it's just like, it is so inspiring. And to then have the opportunity to be the other person for them, to be there for them to bounce ideas off of. And now our community is another thing that has manifested in a way that we would never even have imagined. So, like you start a Facebook group, right? And like maybe you have a program and you have this little community, but as the leader of the community, like I felt like we were there to guide people through and answer questions, and like we were the resource. And now this community is so interconnected and so strong and so experienced that it is more valuable, in my opinion, to be a part of this community than to just be in touch with the two of us, because they're coaching each other, they're partnering together, they're learning new things beyond the scope of what we teach from each other. And it's so beautiful. I cannot describe the feeling of looking at this group and hearing their conversations and just like seeing what's going on, because it's literally exploding and it's so incredible.
Yeah, man, does that light me up every time I see a connection of like two of our like B2B graduates, especially like working together, collaborating on something. Yeah, there are no words for that. Like it is really, really special to witness. And, and I, we've been talking a lot. I feel like the word family keeps coming up, and our B2B graduates, that's our program, Broadcast to Badass, in case this is your first time listening to us and you're like, who the F are these girls talking crazy? So Broadcast to Badass is our signature program. And, what was I talking about? Oh yeah. So we've been talking about how the people that go through our program become our family. And that's so much of the feedback that we get. And I love that so much. I love that that's part of our business culture. And it is just so, so true. And it's nothing that we really, it was just it wasn't something that we said like, we're going to make a family. It's just something that's so beautifully evolved and is just like, it's just who we are and it's just how we do things. And it is the most rewarding and fulfilling thing that I can imagine. And so, yeah, I really just want to sink into the gratitude of that for a moment and give a big virtual hug to our B2B family. Here you go.
Totally. Totally. And like, that's the other thing, right? If you are a solopreneur or if you have this vision and you aren't sure, and I know there are a lot of people out there looking for business partners, and we get a lot of questions actually when we are on other people's podcasts about our partnership and how we found each other and how we knew we would work so well together. And like, we didn't. Mm-hmm. We weren't really looking for business partners when we became friends. And so I think our situation may be somewhat unique, because I know that there are people out there who have a business who need somebody to partner with or want somebody to partner with to carry out that vision. And I think the beautiful thing is this vision was neither one of ours. It is both of ours equally. And but like the other thing is, if you are alone, like find a community, because mm-hmm. there is no such thing as alone anymore. And no matter who you are, no matter what you do, no matter where you are on this planet, the internet is such a powerful connector. And I know Facebook gets a bad rap. And honestly, I am not the biggest advocate of Facebook and social media. It kind of kills me to think about how much time I spend there. But at the same time, like we're not frivolously scrolling through and just kind of not using our brains. We are creating virtual communities. And it is through these Facebook groups that people are connecting. So if you have any sort of similar mindset to what I used to have, it's time to shift that, because this is a very, very powerful place. And all you have to do, of course, we want you to join our tribe. So bledigital.com/tribe is where you can find that. But honestly, just find a tribe. Just find people, connect somewhere, somehow. And the coolest, easiest way to do that is just go to Facebook and search for groups that are related to what you do. Search for communities, even like in real life communities, professional networks, professional groups, people that you can connect with, to share ideas with, to bounce ideas off of. And again, like this is both like very tangible and very woo, but if you join a group, like check it out and stay if it feels good. And if it doesn't feel good, leave.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, okay. So I'm thinking about, no, I'm thinking, okay, let's bring all of this together, all of this beautiful sparkle barf, as we call it, into a few takeaways here for anybody listening. And again, bringing it back to this idea of that Pua and I have been reflecting on a lot lately is that in our pursuit of our goals, our dreams, our badass next big thing, it's so important to take a moment to reflect on what you're grateful for, to find support that you need, and also to be tracking your growth and expansion so that you're celebrating as you're working towards those new goals. So one, definitely be watching that self-talk, right? Shine the light on that shit. If you're only so focused on where it is that you want to go and not reflecting on how far you've come, take a moment to just write out in a journal, if you need to, everything that you have been doing and how far you've come, what you're so grateful for. And then, as Pua was just sharing, find a tribe, any tribe. Of course, please, our tribe. bledigital.com/tribe, because we would love to hang out with you there. And again, be brave enough to reach out, because that's all it takes is a simple, everybody is a click away these days. And those things can definitely help you to be a little gentler on yourself and have a little bit more fun on this journey. And the last tool that we've talked a lot about, tracking with you guys today, and how that's really brought up all of this for us. And we have a gift for you, right?
We sure do. And this gift is 2 or 5-fold at least. So first and foremost, if you are driving, pull over right now and don't do this while you're driving. But I'm too excited. Okay.
I love excited Pua.
But I'm like, I have a million thoughts going through my head at once. So thought number 1, people often listen to podcasts in the car, and then when they hear a call to action, they're always like, oh, I don't want to forget to do that. And then they forget to do that. You know how I know? Because I do it every day. So I hope that little 10-second rant encouraged you to either pull over or remember to do this when you get home. So we have a free download, and we're about to tell you what it is. So head over to bledigital.com/badass to grab this. And it is our brand spanking new broke ass to badass planner for entrepreneurs.
Whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop, whoop. So this is like that echoed. This is like it's both like a monthly tracker with some monthly questions, like a 30-day sort of check-in with all of the things, all of your metrics, everything that you want to be tracking in your business, and also how you want to be feeling in your business. And then it goes into a weekly planner. And if you guys have been following us since the beginning, we used to have a planner that was called the Best Week Ever, and then it was called Best Life Ever Weekly Planner. So this is the business version of that. It's super badass. Kimi worked super hard on this. And we're so excited to give that to you as a free gift. And then also to kind of piggyback on what we were saying about reaching out, like not being afraid to reach out, you will receive an email or 2 from us to help guide you through this planner. And in one of those emails, we'll ask you to respond to a question. And we would love it if you would. We get all those emails and we get so pumped when we receive them. And it starts a conversation, and we will reply personally. So it's really fun. It's really cool. So definitely go grab a planner.
Yeah. This is the exact system that we use for tracking our, like, that's how I thank you, Pua, this was like a collective effort, but I absolutely use this same system for myself, just kind of overall looking at our business when we collect our numbers every 30 days or so. This is the exact system that we use. And the weekly planning is like, these are the questions that we're definitely asking ourselves on a regular basis. And as we were doing this, we're like, this is always what we do. We're like, oh, this is so valuable. Like we should just be sharing this with everybody, right? It's like what works for us, we want to share with you guys. So we think you're going to love it. If you've been using our other weekly planning guide and you're an entrepreneur, you're going to be like, oh my God, this is so awesome because it's all in one place. And so this is the thing that we were craving. And so we created it. And now here it is for you to enjoy. So exciting.
It's kind of how this business works.
See, right? That is business. Like,
yeah,
scratch your own itch and then share it. That does sound gross. Okay. So we gave them the link. Anything else that we want to share today?
Yeah, sure do.
Okay.
No, do we? Yeah,
Oh,
I think we do.
okay.
Why not, right?
Yeah, why not?
So guys, if you're like, oh, Kimi and Pua's podcast is out and they're the B2B coaches and B2B sounds so cool and I really want to do it.
I want to be part of that family.
Do it now because we are. So I think in the very beginning of this episode, and thank you, by the way, for listening all the way through to now.
We love you.
Hinted, we do love you. We hinted at some big changes that we're making to our program and we're so pumped. So we've explained this a lot recently, so let me know if I leave things out or if I'm like talking out of my butt. But we have up until now let our signature 8-week course, it's a group coaching program. There's hundreds of hours of modules on how to grow and scale your online business and get clarity and just like freaking best life ever, all of your shit. That's a terrible way to describe this, but I just I can't. I'm too excited. And if you guys have been listening to anything that we put out there and have been to our website, there's much more eloquent descriptions about it there. But we have let it be rolling admission because we just want it to be accessible. We want to help people. We want to give people all of the tools they need to create these businesses and change the world and provide solutions and serve clients. So we closed it once to like revamp it, but not really. And so recently, when we did close it to revamp the program, we ended up bringing a bunch of people in because there was that sense of urgency. And through this, we actually inadvertently created a small cohort. So the last 8 weeks, everybody who was in the program essentially has done it together. And it was so powerful and it was so cool that's part of why we've decided to do an open close cart strategy for this moving forward. And the other part is without urgency, people won't take action, right? So if you've been thinking about B2B and you're sitting out there saying, someday I'll sign up, until we close the doors, you may never sign up because that's human nature. That's how we do it too. So that's the other reason. And so we're studying some really, really cool launch strategies. And we're excited to share those with you once we hack them and Kimi Pua-ify them.
Can I add one more reason? So another piece of this open close cart formula that we love being the anti-hustle movement is that it means that we're working essentially in sprints. Right. So we're really focused working with a community for 8 weeks and then there's a break until the next launch. So, we're always, as we said, like working towards a model that not only we're teaching people to have quality of life. That means that it's important for us to have quality of life as well. And part of quality of life is working more in an ebb and a flow model. So we are really proud of that aspect of it. We, of course, invest in ourselves as well. And so with the guidance of our coaches and our mentors, we are making sure that our business is structured in a way that helps us to be in integrity with what we teach, which is to create a business and a life that you absolutely love and that you feel that you're building in those breaks, you're building in that respite. And so as you're doing your business planning and taking a look at everything that's in your life, everything that's in your schedule, ask yourself, what's working? What's not working? Do I love my schedule? Do I have enough respite and, white space built into not just my day, not just my week, but my entire life and year? And so those are the hard questions that we asked ourselves as part of this business planning process. And it's what we're inviting you to do as well, because you are going to love the decisions that you make from that place. And then you are living a life by design, not just doing things the way you've always done them because you've always done them that way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
See, this is how we roll. I spit out things that make no sense.
That's not true.
It's so true.
We perfectly like volley back and forth.
I am grateful that you are able to help us with that. the eloquent description. What was I going to say? Oh yeah. Okay. So our next cohort is starting.
Oh my God, I love that word. Why do I love that word so much?
It's fun to say. It feels good when it comes out of your mouth.
Cohort.
I think cohort. Anyway. So what am I talking about? The next cohort is starting December 4th. And
tell them why.
Why Tuesday, December 4th? Oh, well, it's because we don't work on Mondays. Boom. Mm-hmm. So badass. So anyway, all morning today, Kimi and I were like, God, our bosses are so cool. Oh, we're so weird. So we're closing the doors to this program and to all enrollments on November 28th. Okay, so we know urgency, but you got a whole month. So you're going to kind of check it out. You're going to go to our website. You're going to see, do I like these girls? It's going to help me. Do it. Go into the tribe. Ask questions. Find people who have done the program and pick their brains. We invite you to do all of this. We want you to feel super, super good about this decision. If it helps you, join our email list. Get a feel for who we are. Listen to all of our podcasts. We want you to do all of this research so that when you make this decision, it is a hell yes from you.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Awesome. Well, that was so fun. This was such a fun episode. I really enjoyed myself. Well, you know, and that is so important. And I think that's the last little nugget of whatever the golden nugget we'll leave you with. Why does that sound so weird? I feel like everything I say today sounds really weird, but is that, you know, follow what feels good. Like feeling good is your number one job. That's your number one job. And so when we say like, oh, this was really fun, this really felt good, like know that that is exactly what is the most important thing for your life and for your business. And so Pua had mentioned that we said that, you know, we were talking about how cool our bosses are, meaning, you know, us. And that came from a conversation where we made a conscious decision today to come on this podcast and just do an audio podcast for all of you, because this is what felt the best to us today. And that is something, again, that I am so proud of and so grateful for that we have had in place in our business. Pua and I like religiously follow what feels good to us. And if it doesn't, if it feels sticky, if it feels heavy, we either talk it out until we can lighten it up, or we get rid of it, or we do something else, because we know that nothing good comes from doing the things that feel just like icky and heavy and awful. And yes, there will going to be like challenging things that you go through and times of hustle and all of that, and things that, you know, you may not want to do, but that you know are in the bigger service, but you can still find a way to feel good and make that your number one job. So yeah.
Amen.
Yeah.
And if you're like, what do you mean? Go back and listen to Mark Harmon's episode where he talks about how to human, because we're all born with the innate ability and like desire, and it's almost like this, like you can't turn it off. But you can, and we have. You can, and we've shut down our ability to make intuitive decisions, and we've shut down our desire to be happy because we think that that's not what good adults do, right? Like we're like, oh, it's not about us. Like we don't need to be happy. We need to sacrifice our happiness for a family and to make money and like work jobs that we hate. And if you allow yourself to reflect and be quiet with yourself and look within and figure out what it is that makes you happy, our entire job, Kimi and I, are here to give you the tools to do both. provide for your family, make lots of money, live a life that you love, be as happy as you possibly can, and serve the world. It is all possible. Like, I'm laughing because I know how people are going to take this. It's going to sound crazy because we've gotten so good at being unhappy because we think that that's what we're supposed to do. So go listen to Mark Harmon, go sign up for your planner, do all the things we told you to do, but only if you want to because it feels good. And we'll talk to you next week.
I like how you just added that in for all the people who are like, don't tell me what to do. All the rebels out there. Okay, so bledigital.com/badass is where you can get your planner. bledigital.com/tribe is where you will find us hanging out. We love you guys. We will be back in your ears very soon.
Bye.